Hey, what's good, family? In this video, we're going to be breaking down the swing trade that I just took on AMD for over 200%. If that's of interest to you, keep watching. All right, so here we are looking at AMD, currently trading at 184.42. Let's take a look at what we did. All right, so taking a look at it, we can see on August 11, I bought a 190 call, which is way out of the money, that expires August 22nd. For $108, and today, August 13th, I sold out for $331. All right, just to get in here, we can see I bought in about an hour before market close when I got this AMD call, and then I sold out like 13 minutes in the market open today. All right, just to kind of give you the timestamps. All right, now that we've kind of seen the contract, seen the selection, let's actually talk about what I went for. Actually, real quick, let's actually really quickly hop in and let's actually really quickly take a look at the option now. All right, so that same AMD call is currently going for $325 per share. One thing I want to bring to your attention is the delta. The delta is currently at 36. The delta is currently at 36, meaning for every dollar it moves up right now, this contract is going to increase by about $36, and this contract is going to increase by a total of like $36. So that's just something I look at when I'm getting into a contract. Of course, the delta was lower when I entered the trade, but keep that in mind. That's what I'm looking at when I'm saying, oh, where can this potentially go? Is this going to be worth it? All right, so here we are looking at AMD. I'm going to actually try to bring this back to a little bit before I took the entry. So here, going to go to replay, take it back here, and I'm going to go to the 4-hour. And then I'm also going to turn off the EMAs as well as the RSI, because none of this was relevant for this trade. All right, so kind of taking a look at it. Let's see. Oh, might need to bring this back one more. All right, so now we're looking at it, taking a look at it. We got AMD here. Something that we saw on AMD, we noticed there was a demand zone here, and we also noticed there was kind of like a trend that AMD was selling off from. I had already identified that every time AMD comes to this level, it sells off. AMD came here, sold off. And then one other thing is we also, if we go back to the weekly, we had this trend line as well that AMD was using as support, then broke below, and then was using it as resistance. And then we finally broke above it, and we found some strength on AMD. So that is kind of everything in there. Now let's get back in there on a lower time frame. So that's what this black line is. So we had a trend line for support and a trend line on resistance, and real quick going up to a higher time frame. On the weekly charts, I noticed, okay, we were down here, but this trend line is respected on a higher time frame, so I wasn't too concerned unless we would have closed down here on the week. I knew that this could have just been a wick, and that's all it was. It was just a big wick. All right, so going back to the 4-hour, kind of taking a look at it, we were consolidating between these two levels, and if we kind of let it go on, looking at the 4-hour, right here we got a break. We kind of broke, and then we pulled back. And honestly, once we got to this level, we broke the trend line, which is kind of bullish. I was looking for a retest, and we came back. We kind of retested. I got in a little early, so let's go to the 1-hour. And yeah, got in a little early when we first retested. We kind of came below the trend line, but when you're on higher time frames like this, it's not going to be perfect. So I kind of just sat in it for a day. So got in the Monday. Tuesday, the trade didn't look bad, so I stayed in because I got I got almost 2 weeks worth of time, so I wasn't too worried about it. And then if we kind of let it play a little more, this was yesterday on Tuesday, or before this happened right here. All this right here was yesterday on Tuesday. If we just, here, let's see. If we just look at this right here, this was yesterday on Tuesday. And I can see now we're comfortably above this trend line. So I feel kind of good about it. I feel like I have adequate time. And what I was targeting, once we kind of broke above this trend line, I'm looking for it to run back to where the trend started. So the trend started over here. And as we can see, if we drop down to a 15-minute, early this morning, we came through and we smashed through that. So this was market open. We came right here. Honestly, I sold out a little before because we were close enough. But we came, we took out this high, and then we sold off, and now we're kind of consolidating. So that is kind of where that trade ended for me. That is the move that kind of happened there. And now that this trade has been made, AMD now has formed a new range. It started a new range. I'm going to close this out. As of right now, the range is going to be right here. Should this candle push higher, or should this close blue, this trend can go on. This can go higher. It can create a higher range. But as of right now, AMD is still here doing this thing. And I wasn't going to try to ride past the target. Maybe I was. It came right to target, so it played out the way it was supposed to. But once again, like kind of looking at it, I was able to ride this trade about $12. And thinking back to that delta, even if the delta was like 10 or 12 when I first got in, looking for a $12 move on this trade, that would have been a minimum of $120 profit, and that would have been 100%. That was all I was really looking for. But this morning I saw that we had the opportunity, so I was like, hey, let's see if we can get to the target. We got to the target. I was like, yo, don't be greedy. Took profits out of that thing. If you found this video to be helpful or learn anything, be sure to smash the like button. If for some reason you're new here and haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And last but certainly not least, thank you so much for watching. Manuel signing off, and I want to change your life.